everybody. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast with my dear brother, Collin Harbour. He's right there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Marcus Ellis. I'm here in Pensacola, Florida. Collin, why don't you tell him who we are?
We are two lifelong friends with a love of baseball, music, motivation, and inspiration mixed with a little bit of nostalgia, culture, transformation, and fun. And we want you to take the journey with us.
This is Strike a Chord Live podcast. Good morning, brother. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. I was actually just looking at my email, and I got an email saying that I want a cooler. But then I thought it's probably, clickbait or whatever. So I had to delete the email. It didn't look like at first. You see those things, and you're like, all right, I want a cooler. I finally won something. But I deleted the email because I don't think it's legit.
I win a lot of things. I win stuff all the time. It's weird. I can remember when we were kids. There was it wasn't Interlight, but there was a surf shop on 9th Avenue near Cervantes. And I went in there and they were like doing a raffle for a skateboard. And they were like, we're about to draw in like an hour. You want to get in on it? And so I got in on it. I was buying surf and stuff because we used to surf. And man, I got home and my mom said, you want a skateboard at what's he got? I was like, what? And before I got home, they had called my mom. And so I want to skate. So I do win things.
I saw somebody skateboarding down a path by my house just maybe 2 days ago, and I thought, I think I'm going to start skateboarding again.
Yeah, I saw a kid skateboarding in front of my house, a girl, and I was like, man, she makes that look so easy. I'm going to do that. But I always seem to bust my butt when I do that. But I digress. Good morning, everybody. Today is July 12th, 2023, if I could say it that way. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast. Hey, we want to thank you guys for listening and watching. And just as the kids call it, if you're on that hashtag replay thing, we appreciate and love you too. Ryan Little, I see you there. Good morning, bro. I need to talk to you, Ryan. I got some construction stuff on a house in Pace that we need to do something. So good to see you. But Collin, why don't you tell us what the topic is, how we came up with it. And man, we got some key takeaways today. What you got?
Some key takeaways, Mark. I mean, I remember the other day you said the 3 good key takeaways, took all the good ones, and you're like, well, Collin, what else is there? Which is,
I stole all yours and then put you on the spot.
Oh no, I put in the wrong passcode, so my iPhone is unavailable for 1 minute. So you're gonna have to. I'll set it up, but you're gonna have to read the quote.
Okay, you'll tee it up.
Or maybe it'll be in a minute. I don't know why I put in the wrong passcode. So every day. Well, first let me take a step back. My dad, Mark knows my dad. We knew each other's parents. My dad's a pastor. He's retired. He's written several books. He's a speaker. He loves quotes. He uses quotes in his sermons and his books, everything. So since COVID, 3 years ago, every day he sent a quote of the day to me and my 3 siblings.
Wow.
So quote of the day and a quote. It could be from, and a lot of times it's from somebody you've never heard of, right? Because he still reads a lot of books, every week. And so he's got all these quotes and all these people and all this stuff. Anyway, so one of the quotes he sent, and I think I'm available. Oh yeah, there we go. One of the quotes that he sent maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, was, I thought, perfect for Strike a Chord Live podcast. And it was, if you think your best days are behind you, they are. If you think your best days are ahead of you, they are.
Love that. Totally.
Makes sense. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. If you think your best days are behind you, then you're right. If you think your best days are ahead of you, then you're right. And that is by an author named John Gordon. I looked up John Gordon an hour ago. He's 10 months older than me, 11 months older than me. He was born in January 1971, I believe. And he's an author. He's a motivator. He's like a sales coach, a sales team builder, and written several books.
We need to get in touch with this John Gordon and put him on the podcast. Another thing, why have we never had your dad on the podcast?
It's a great question. I mean, he might would do it. I think he sleeps in a little bit later now. He used to be an earlier riser. I
Right.
think I think he might sleep in, and there's always a chance that there would be technical difficulty. Quite frankly,
Well, let's record one with him. That's something that we can do.
we could
So
do that. Maybe we
you're
could do
talking
that.
about
Yeah,
early riser. Today, man, I woke up at 2:30.
that's pretty early.
I have not been back to sleep. I was like, I had my alarm set for 4:30. I usually don't need it. But I planned to get out. But I woke up and I was awake because the other day I did it and I went back to sleep. And then when I woke up when I was supposed to, I was dragging, man. So those sleep cycles, that you get in. So I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to go back to sleep. I'll get in another sleep cycle and I'll be really tired. So I'm very grateful that I did get up. I'll pay for it later when I'm tired. But if you think your best days are behind you, they are. If you think your best days ahead of you, they are. And I love that quote. Good morning, Peggy Gossman. We love you. Good to see you. Hope to see you Saturday night at the White Tie Rock Ensemble show at the Pensacola Civic Center / Bay Center. Hope to see you. But the first thing when I read this quote, the first thing that struck a chord with me, Collin, was our dear sister Megan DiMartino.
Yeah.
One time we were on the phone and I said, maybe I'm too old to do this. And the only time she's ever ate my lunch was when I said that. She was like, don't you ever say that again. She's like, that is not true.
Yeah. And, age is becoming more and more important. I guess some of the people these days will say that gender is a social construct. Maybe age is a social construct. Maybe, probably not. It's a reality, right? We do get older. We do develop. But I really like that quote because, well, I'll be 51 I'll be 52 this year. I'll be 52 this year. And so that's the question. Are my best days behind me or are my best days in front of me? And like I said, I saw a dude, not quite my age, but kind of an older guy, skateboarding the other day down the path in my neighborhood. Hey, man. Guy's skateboarding. He was probably about 45,
Yeah.
Go buy a skateboard and do a little skateboarding.
I'm going to go buy a skateboard now. You've inspired me. I'll get some pads though, because I know I'm going to hit the ground, but that's cool.
So you're going to be a skateboarder with pads. That's going to look kind of funny.
I'll look youthful, won't I?
Like, I know that the whole skateboarding and bike riding and all that stuff is dangerous, but like my kids never really wore pads or helmets on their bikes and stuff. It's kind of like the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
The only time they ever wear pads is when they had they both had rollerblades / skates. And so they'd always wear that because there's some major slippage on skates, and you hit the concrete, that can hurt anyway. All right. So are your best days ahead of you? I think, Mark, you're kind of an interesting case study, right? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever kind of the I love you thing started and the videoing and I know maybe some of it was already there, but just, kind of transforming the way you communicate with the world, right? Transforming the way you interact with people. And it's the same thing about life, right? One of the things that I wanted to do more of, we just never did because I don't think Gina liked it as much. And I don't think my kids like it as much. It's like, I wish I could go to Colorado, like during the summer every year and be outside and hopefully I've still got 30 years to do that. Right.
Yeah. Oh, you do. I told my girls I'm living to be 99, and they said, Daddy, you can't choose when you're going to die. I said, watch me, and not because I want to live that long. I just want to be around to enjoy my kids. I want to say good morning, Christina Macy. Love you. Good to see you. Peggy Gossman. I bet you, she says, a friend of mine is 66, still skateboards and surfs. I bet you're talking about Freddie Esposito because there's no other legend in Pensacola that's 66 that's still skateboarding and surfing than Freddie Esposito. And we love Freddie. But yeah, man, it's like this quote, the thing it does, it emphasizes the power of positive thinking, the thing that you and I put out there a lot, on this podcast and how our thoughts shape our reality, so if you think that your best day, I just don't understand that thought process anyways. I've had, Lord knows I had a lot of good times. Speaking of good times, today, July 12th, 1989, I was at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., watching a killer Grateful Dead show, and another one tomorrow. And they actually released it in a box set. It was so good. So
I was there. I've told you, I don't know if you remember, I was there.
What?
I don't remember. I was on an internship in DC.
What?
No, not 89. Never mind, not 89. They were there again in 92.
Yeah, well, they were 91, 92, 93. I was there in 93 as well.
93 is when I was there.
Wow. So we were at the same Grateful Dead show and never knew it?
But I didn't go to the show. I was in DC on an internship. So I was like, because I never did the whole Grateful Dead thing. So I was like, I want to go do the walk around, see what's going on, get the vibe, what's going on. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I can't remember. I guess I took the metro or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly how I got there, but yeah, just walked around. My roommate didn't want to go. So yeah, it was just me, and just went out there for a couple hours, just walked around, hung out with people and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. I want to say good morning, Top of the Walls. I see you. I love you. Good morning, Eric Hansen. I love you, bro. Good to see you. Thank you all for being here. I can see the comments, Collin, if I look on the phone. But yeah, man, we create our present day and our future, by our thoughts. Your thoughts, determine your actions. And I mean, I still can't believe I'm 50 because I don't feel that way. I mean, I was about to run a 5K, but I told you I ran into a beautiful soul that needed my help out in the public. So I didn't run my 5K, but I get my steps in every day. Whenever I tell people, if I'm wearing a hat like this and I tell people I'm 50, they can't believe it. But if I took the hat off, they'd see the gray hair and the balding and all that, and they'd know. But people, I really, there was an old Jefferson Airplane song, "You're only pretty as you feel," right? You're only as young as you feel. You're only as young as your mindset. You're only going to accomplish what you believe you can accomplish. I mean, dude, I was 48 years old, been at the job that I was at for 15 years, and I started over with nothing. I mean, who does that? This guy. Why?
Who does that on their own, right? Who does that not getting, that's that's a great question. And I think there's more and more of that, because you can really start anything. And we've always talked about starting, and this is maybe a little bit about starting, but it's more about living, right? It's more about enjoying. It's more about, I mean, look, if you want to do something, as Nike says, just do it, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah.
Skateboard, surf. I don't know about the surfing. I've seen too many videos of sharks these days,
It's getting crazy.
They're getting hungrier. They're getting closer. We're getting closer. Yeah. And I don't think I want to experience that personally. Jump out of a plane. The first George Bush, I think he went skydiving when he was like, 85 or 80. Remember? Do you remember that a few years ago?
He would do it every year on his birthday.
Yeah. So he kept, and again, that's something else Collin Harbour's not going to do unless I have to. You are?
Yeah, I want to skydive. Laura wants to too.
There is I would say no way that I would ever do that voluntarily. I guess there's like, you give me $1 million, maybe I'll give it a try.
That's funny.
But I'm not going to do
it. Or not talk about it. We said we'd have to go separately. So if something happened that,
what if one of the shoots does, whatever. But the point is, whether it's starting a business, whether it's starting a blog, whether it's starting a podcast, we've talked a lot about the exercise thing. You want to run a half marathon, be careful, ramp up. Don't start tomorrow. I mean, start tomorrow. Don't do it tomorrow. Ramp up over time, build up your endurance, let your body get used to it. And do it. You can do it, right? Anybody can do. You want to write a book? Guess what? Now is the time. Your best days are ahead of you.
Amen. Well, Ryan Austin, who we had on here talking about, his training for his half marathon in October. I spoke with him yesterday, and that's Christina Macy's son who's on here. He's up to 8 miles. And Christina, I can't remember how much weight that Ryan lost, but if you drop it in the comments, that would be great. He was overweight. He was an alcoholic. He made the decision to change his life. And now he's bound and determined to run a half marathon. And he's a big dude, He says it's not easy. It's painful, but it's the mindset that I can do this. My physical body is not going to stop me from accomplishing a goal because my mind can overpower that. And that's really been really difficult for me. You know, that mind over matter thing. It's something that I've had to learn and work at. And you too, you're going to have to learn to work at it. And like we taught Bruce Pulver, and you just start, you know, just take that first step. Christina said, Ryan has lost over 100 pounds. He's still a big boy. I mean, he's not heavy set, but he's still a big guy. And he's running a half marathon in October. If that's not inspiring, I don't know what is. His best days I know he would say his best days are ahead of him because I made a decision to change the health of his life.
Yeah, you know, I've made some changes in a couple of things in my life. Maybe I'll talk about them one day. But like when I made them, I said it's going to be riding the ship on these things, right? It's going to be a slow burn, a slow crawl. And I don't know Ryan well outside of, you know, the podcast. And of course, one time we had him and I was like 30 minutes late. So I missed most of what we had to talk about. But even so, sometimes that riding the ship is a slow crawl. It's not going to happen overnight, but starting it, getting it done, getting the in the right mindset that, hey, my best days are ahead of me. I don't care if you're 75. I don't care if you're 14. My best days are ahead of me, not behind me. Doesn't mean I haven't had a good time. Doesn't mean I haven't learned a lot. Doesn't mean haven't had my ups and downs. And it doesn't mean all of these great things haven't already happened, but those are nothing compared to what's going to happen.
Well, you know, Ryan Little asked a good question. He said, mind over matter. How can you keep that with a string of bad luck? How do you stay positive? I'm going to answer it. What I do is prayer, 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 and prayer. That's the only way, right? Is having faith in God and faith in yourself that you're going to pull yourself through, Ryan. And so that's my answer to that question. Collin, how would you answer that?
I'd say, you know, there is the prayer component. There is the natural mindset component. And then there is look, everybody's had a string of bad luck. I promise you, Ryan, everybody has had a string of bad luck. I have had a mini string of bad luck the last 9 to 10 months, we'll call it, right?
You're talking about business.
In business.
Right.
But that impacts everything. That impacts everything when you're solopreneur, right?
Right.
When you're not Bezos with $1 billion or, you know, Zuckerberg it impacts everything. And now while I'm talking about just recently, it's happened a million times before, right? And there is the mindset, there is you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I think I've said this before too, is when you listen to, there's business podcasts, there's motivational podcasts, there's history podcasts, there's just goofing off podcasts, there's whatever.
You know what's really popular? The crime ones. I don't understand that, but go ahead. The crime.
Yeah, crime ones are good, but there's a great one that I've been listening to, American history storytellers or history tellers, something like that. That cool. Just takes, you know, they're usually 5 or 6 episodes about, you know, the Civil War. So it's like reading a book on the Civil War, but just kind of told from a different perspective. But anyway, I had a point. Hold on. What am I saying? Realize that everybody has had strings of bad luck. A lot of people are going, even the people who you think are successful, Ryan, right now are going through strings of bad luck. And what they do is they keep going. Maybe they listen to people and they start to realize it. They understand that, hey, I still have to suffer from some of my decisions, right? The consequences. Suffer is probably the wrong word. The consequences of decisions. I am suffering from the consequences of some decisions I made 5 to 10 years ago right now. That's financially. Okay. I am, period.
That's okay.
Right? It is. It's just the way it is. It impacts everything, but that still doesn't mean that my best days aren't ahead of me.
Right. Amen. Well, I want to acknowledge some people real quick because we have family. Leo Liza, all the way from the Philippines, is watching us. What's up, fam? That's Laura's cousin. Good to see you. I love you, Leo. Terrence Elmore's here. We got to get Terrence back. Love you, bro. Barbara Shaw is here. Love you. And of course, the one and only Bruce Pulver is here. And he says, great conversation, guys. Today's word I wrote is momentum. Got to keep going through the storm. Momentum. The M may seem against us. Oh, O, when will I get some? M, may be discouraging. E, even want us to quit. N, never stop believing. Don't stop. The commit matters. Unwavering in ways make faith the anchor. Make faith the anchor. I love that. It's funny how it doesn't come out right on the quote thing, so I don't read it right. But thank you, Bruce, for your amazing acrostic. Love you. Loved our conversation yesterday. Yeah, man, look, whatever it is that you want to do, just believe what you want to do. And I keep thinking of the journey thing, which has got to get out of my head. By the way, we're doing Eagles and Journey at a while later, Collin, but if we believe our best days are ahead of us, we are more likely to take those actions, right, that lead to positive outcome. If you believe the opposite, that's what's going to happen. We've talked about many times, Collin, speaking it into existence. You've got to think it into existence first. You've got to
think it, you've got to speak it, and then you've got to do it, right? And I was just looking, like, you may not believe this at all, but I was just this morning before we got on our pre-show conversation, I was thinking, I haven't seen anything from Bruce Pulver in a while. And here we go. Bruce Pulver's here. That's great.
You thought it into existence.
What's that? I thought it into existence. Yeah. Yes, I thought it into existence, but I'm not kidding when I say just this morning I was like, haven't heard a lot from Bruce. So Peggy says bad luck is a stepping stone to strengthening faith, leading to achievement. And it's not just bad luck. Sometimes it's bad decisions, right? Sometimes it's recognizing you've made bad decisions. Sometimes it's circumstances that come from these things. I can promise, I guess all this kind of spurred from a question from Ryan a little, but I can guarantee you I've made more bad financial decisions in the last 15 years than everybody listening to this combined. I can guarantee you that.
But let's reframe that, because they're not bad decisions. They were just
bad decisions.
They just didn't work out, but you learned a lesson from it, so it's a positive thing, right?
Okay, maybe mindset, shift your mindset, right?
Yeah, let's reframe that. There are no bad decisions. It's just learning. It's like we talked about in the last session with Edison. He said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways not to do it.
That's right.
So that brings up such a great point, Collin. And, this quote can also be interpreted as a call to action to focus on the present and the future rather than dwelling on the past, because we all know we've done a lot of bad things. You just said you made bad decisions. And what you just said struck a chord with me. Like Bob Dylan says, don't look back. You got to look forward. The past is in the past. What are you going to do today to change your life and everyone's life around you? If you think, I know Megan DiMartino and Bruce, they're in their 60s. They don't act like it. They don't look like it. They're still thriving and jiving. They're still looking forward to the next big thing that they're working on. Why? Because they have faith in God, faith in themselves, and they believe it. And that's what we're trying to implore. That's the key takeaway. You've got to believe, first of all, that age is just a number. It doesn't matter, right? And that you can achieve anything you set your mind to as long as you do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you said
Shoe cars here. Shoe cars here.
Is that to my brothers? Because it just says.
I don't know. I just see that he's watching. I can't. Some of the Facebook quotes I can't see. I'm in the Hey Guess What I Love You group, so I can see.
Facebook is so good about privacy. Hey, I just read where that Meta and like somebody. Oh wait, never mind. I don't want to say this. They'll probably blacklist.
Go ahead and say it. Who cares?
No, I'm not going to say it because I haven't read the article. I only read the headline.
Well, let's talk about the threads real quick. The threads thing, they said, so why I didn't jump on initially, and I am on it now, and you can go find me on threads, is that if you have your threads account and you delete it, it automatically deletes your Instagram account too. Seriously, that's true. So
they're going to have to change that.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to or not, but also it is it's a financial term. I'll have to think of it in a second. But anyways, they have free reign to all your information. It's a decentralized app. So decentralized app means that they have all your stuff. And if they don't like what you're saying, like what you were about to say, they could kick you off for life and you lose everything. But I digress. We're talking about ageism.
Ageism. Well, we're talking about people who they create their own ageism in their mind, right? If they think
Right.
I'm too old to do this or I can't do this. One of the things you said is the past is the past. Don't look back. I would say only look back at it in the context of what you learned, right? What you learned, not in it's going to repeat, not in I always act this way or I always make these same choices. I always make these same decisions. More in the context of don't make that one again because it didn't work out the right way, right? Learn from it, as Edison said, and look to the future.
Yeah, that Edison guy was pretty smart, So, man, the number one key takeaway is kick that thought that you're too old to do something to the curb. I mean, it's just got to go, right? So the quote should encourage you to have an optimistic outlook on life. Believe in your ability, regardless of how old you are, and create a fulfilling future, right?
Yeah, you're starting to get a little fuzzy to me. I think we might be losing you, but we've made it to the end today. What'd you do? Did you switch routers on your end?
You know what? I feel kind of silly. I closed all the windows, the 100 windows that I had.
You had too many things open, and your computer was confused, and your computer was like
all those times.
I can't. So I always do that on my phone. Like you'll look at it, and it's like 147 windows. So I always close them all out. But anyway,
all the time she's like, "How many tabs you have open on your phone?" It's like, I just look at stuff. I thought it closed out. I don't know.
I know a guy who has that on his computer too. This a client that I work with, and you go in there, and then like his computer shut down the other day, and all of his tabs. He was like, "Oh no, all of my tabs." I was like, "It's okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right." All right. Your best days are ahead of you if you realize it.
Amen.
If you recognize it. If you think it. If you move forward. Or your best days are behind you. It's up to you.
I don't think anybody on here listening, watching, which we want to thank you guys. There's been so many of you this morning on here that believe that. None of these people that are our friends and family on here believe that their best days are behind them. But I do know, like the gentleman I talked to you about that I met on the street, man, I know he feels like that his best days are behind him. Hey, thanks, Bruce. Bruce has got to go. We love you, man. Have a great day. Can't wait to talk to you again, man. Yeah, man. I mean, your best days are ahead of you. Age is just a number, and just believe that you have a brighter future ahead of you than where you've been.
Yeah. And, never mind. I was going to say something.
What were you going to say?
I don't think it's that. Well, it's when I started thinking about it, it's not even funny. I was going to talk about the current president and the immediate past president, how old they were when they became presidents, and that you can be, and then I was going to run with it, but then I decided it was too political, and then I was going to be sarcastic about both of them, so I decided not.
But it's a good point because both of them are up there in age. I love how one of them teases the other one about being old and there's 3 years apart. But look at that. I mean, remember yeah, they're both old. Remember Ronald Reagan back in the day, and it was such a big deal that he didn't have gray hair and he didn't dye his hair. I mean, talk about that. I don't think he will use that sheen to have brown hair.
He put that sheen.
I saw a funny clip the other day. I saw a funny clip where he was at like one of the conventions after he had been shot, and a balloon popped in the middle of his speech, and he goes, "Oh, miss me."
Yeah.
What a funny thing to say after you've been shot.
Well, one of the other funny things he said during the debate, I guess it was they were talking about age and stuff, and he said something like, "You know what? I believe that we shouldn't make age an issue," and blah blah. He's like, "I'm not going to talk about how young and immature my opponent is," or whatever. He was basically saying, like, it sounded like he was setting up to say that he was old, but what he was talking about was Jimmy Carter being younger than him. But it was pretty funny. It was clever, right? It was clever stuff.
You know what? That's a perfect example. Look, now I know that Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter are now they're together in hospice. They're in their upper 90s. But look at what those two people did in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Physically building houses for people in Habitat for Humanity, traipsing around the country. Man, most people at that age, they'd be sitting in a rocking chair on the porch, spinning yarns, right, to the kids. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, and we're not getting political, but man, they were serving all the way into their mid-90s to where they couldn't do it anymore. So if that's not inspiration that your best days are ahead of you, that you can do anything that you put your mind to, regardless of age, I don't know a better example. So thank you for striking a chord with me and bringing that up.
Any time.
All right, man. Well, this has been wonderful. You got anything else to say to the fine folks, the fine listeners out there that we love so much?
I do not.
Cool. Well, we want to thank you guys once again. Thank you for watching live. Thank you to all you guys who are commenting. Let's see. This is true. Just landed a new captain job that I thought would never happen. Oh, Mike Davis. I love you, Mike Davis. 6 figures, health insurance, 401k, dreams still happen. I'm 51. Never thought I'd get this kind of opportunity. Got to keep it positive. And things will happen. I love you, Mike Davis. Good to talk about a baller boat captain. My buddy Mike Davis is a baller boat captain. So I love you, bro. Thanks for finishing it up with that right there. 51 years old, landed a 6-figure job with all the benefits, everything for his beautiful kids that are thriving and jiving. That's the perfect example to end the session on. We thank you guys for listening and watching. Also, as the kids call it on the hashtag replay, we love you guys. We will see you back here. What's today? Is today Wednesday? We'll see you back here on Friday for another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast. We will catch you on the flip. Peace and chicken grease. We're out.